second. We've located this at a depth of 1'8". Located this at a depth of 3'11". Or 3 foot, was it 3'11" or 3'1"? I don't know what they're doing now. I didn't even know. I doubt they bought UV equipment. So that this looks like there's a tie-in right there on the left. See right here where that crustacean's built up.
Okay.
It almost looks like a tie-in.
There is.
Downspouts?
There is, yeah. Somebody did say something about maybe possibly downspouts.
And we can see if they're still going in there or not. Hopefully not. So the way it works with the liner, you know, like whether you open it up here or there, you shoot it all the way out as far as you're going. And then, so when you have branch lines, that liner's cover it up. So you have to go in with an $85,000 tool. It's called a Dan cutter, and cut the liner to reinstate that flow.
Okay.
The first cut's $800. Each one after that's $400. So you know it's just an extra charge. If they've been abandoned and somebody daylight them to the curb or whatever,
yeah,
then you just line over it and just leave them cut. So this is either crustacean or overpour in the pipe. You would just go in there with a Dan cutter and mechanically cut that out so that you can reinstate the full pipe.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, that's massive amount there.
So
that goes from clay pipe to concrete pipe right there.
Okay.
Almost looks like it's got an orange tint to
Yeah.
it, like it's clay, but clay doesn't have the rock in it. It's definitely concrete. Got a little bit of crustacean there on the left, not horrible. It's a little heavier. Did it say how far out your problem was?
Well, they were saying like all of this was a problem, and then I guess they went to about, I want to say about 90 feet. They went is when they kind of hit the city stuff, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they were saying all this was a problem, and that it was weak.
Wow. So you got something going on coming up because it's going into deep, and it could just be, I see something big in front there. It could just be a bunch of debris that needs to be flushed out
Okay.
at 88 feet. And what it might be is
Oh wow.
the pipe flattens out right there, and it's just holding. There's this.
I was getting close possibly to where they said the city lines were.
I can't tell if that is just an offset. That almost looks like a tap, but it's a weird. Let me do that a little further. Okay, so here's your main. Let's go down, drop. That's going to be your main. You just can't make the turn, so it's going to drop down into the main.
Okay.
There's your main. I'm going to be honest with you, you don't need a liner.
Wow.
I mean, if anything, I would go in and descale, so it's not really called, it's descaling, but it's not. So scale is actually cast iron. You do have some cracks at that clean out.
Yeah.
But if we descaled it, I would want to get into that 6-inch pipe. So here, I can only get a 3.5 inch, so you have a 3.5 inch opening, and I can get a 3-inch chain through there.
Okay.
It's going to be the same for there. I need to be able to get a 6-inch chain in there to cut all that out.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, your biggest problem is right at that transition from clay to
concrete
to
or
the concrete.
Okay.
You know, this is really not impeding flow. Now, if those were roots,
Yeah.
I would be worried about it because eventually it's going to close off. But, you know, it might be 15. So what happens is you'll have the deposits start building up, and it's almost like in a cave. You know, stalactites, stalagmites, how you explain those.
Okay,
So you got a
right.
little bit of water seepage coming into the pipe,
Right.
and over time, it
Minerals and shit.
Right.
And that makes sense.
So, you know, before that one would be blocked off, any of those would be blocked off enough to obstruct the pipe, the one would probably be come to an end. I mean,
I gotcha.
something could change and it goes more rapid, but, you know, those have probably been there for, you know, so as soon as the pipe was put together,
Right.
the water was seeping in, so that's when they started. So
Okay.
it took them that long to get that far.
Right. I think this is like 50s or something.
Yeah. I mean, this one up here is concerning.
There was something funny about rotor rooters. His machine, you couldn't. The picture wasn't nearly that clear either, and like the machine, it was just real buggy. And it's like, man, can't even see too clearly for all this money you're trying to tell me to pay.
That one's a little more
Yeah.
concerning.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Because, you know, it's just a little, that opening's just a little bit wider than the diameter of the camera.
Of the camera, yeah. Which is how about how many feet is that?
That's pretty much right outside the house.
Okay.
Okay. That's the transition from clay to concrete.
To concrete. Okay, that's what you're saying.
Actually, no, that's still concrete right there. So the one up here.
Okay, that.
Okay, yeah. So this is.
That's clay.
For some reason they got a little short piece of. This is your transition here. So this is clay to concrete. The next piece is where the heaviest is. And there's a little bit of a. So this piece is sitting here, and then that piece sits a little bit lower. And it may be a transition from, you know, like this may be 5-inch too. 5 and 6 inch is hard to tell. There's certain things that we have to do to, and we can't do it through here. So we've got something we'll attach to our camera, and it'll have a star on it that's set at 5-inch or 6-inch either way. And it'll sit in front of the camera, and we can tell whether it's rubbing or not. And it'll tell us whether it's 5 or 6.
Okay, cool.
But I mean, the only thing I see concerning, and it's hard to say how long it'll be. You know, it could be fine for years and years and years. It could be, you know, decide to fall apart in a year or two. Would be the cracks at the clean out.
Which in that ring.
Okay.
Okay.
So you got 2 ways to do it. Unfortunately, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's a big hole.
Was it 3'11"?
3'11".
3'11". That's a big hole. Wow.
Yeah.
Does that mean harder work or a little bit more price?
Yeah, I mean, if we can, once you get, that looks to be 3-inch.
Okay.
You know, I can see if it's a straight shot, if I can get a 3-inch, I'll practice on something, see if I can get a 6-inch chain through a 3-inch opening.